Hello everybody, Lawrence Fleming here again. I've titled my video today, Jesus is Coming Today. Now, I don't know that He's coming today, but I don't know that He's not coming today. There are people that are predicting that, these events are coming up, so those are good times, and they're high watch times if we're trying to associate it with Him coming on a specific day. But when it gets right down to it, we aren't going to know the day. We're to be ready at all times because we don't know when He's coming. I'll show you a little bit about my scenery here. Let me turn around. Nice big lake. In order to fish on this lake, you can have a Georgia fishing license or a South Carolina fishing license because the border goes through the lake. And there are boats out there. I haven't seen any today, but there were some yesterday. It's a pretty spot. But the bottom line is that wherever I choose to watch, I still have to be ready. I still have to have oil for my lamps regardless of where I am. Now I've talked about prepping because we don't know how long we're going to have to be here. I'm in a good spot out here. I don't have a lot of stores out here, so I won't be able to stay here if something happens. I don't know that I can get to some of my stores because if they hit us with an EMP bomb of some sort, that's going to shut down everything. I might not be able to get into my storage unit, at least not without climbing over the fence. We don't know what's coming. We got a good scare this last week playing a game of chicken with China. I'm glad we stood up to them because they want to take over the world too. Russia wants to take over the world. We just have to make sure that we're safe wherever they decide that they want to start fighting. We don't want to be near it. I worry about people that are in cities. If something were to happen to our food chain immediately, of course there'd be a run on the markets. They'd be emptied out in a couple of days, and then there'd be no more food left. The people that managed to get all the food from there, whether they paid for it or whether they stole it, will have enough food for a little while. The food chain will be broken. You won't see any for a while. So I want to talk about some things that you can do to be ready while we wait. We can pray that we don't have to deal with any of this, that God will get us out of here. But we're still here now. So can you survive if you were to lose access to stores tomorrow? How much food do you have in your pantry? Could you go for a week or two or maybe even a month or two? If the full supply chain breaks, there may not be any food for a year or two. I'm telling you to, prepare. Well, let's get in and look at some scriptures. We still have plenty of work to do. We're still here, so there are souls to save. Like I was telling somebody earlier, it is not our job to save souls, just to present them with the Word. All right, let's take a look at some scriptures. I'm going to be reading some very familiar verses for you. We will get a couple other ones that maybe you haven't seen, but the bottom line is that we have to basically be assured that God has given us the right information and that we're following it. Now, again, I've said this before, that when we're talking, when Jesus is talking, like in Matthew, he's talking to the Jews. But it doesn't matter whether he's talking about his second coming or the rapture or any other event that involves the 7-year time frame, if you want to look at it that way. That's not a very long time. And we know that it's cut short because it says if it wasn't cut short, people wouldn't survive. So it's even less than that. And if you want to look at the events of the second half, after the abomination of desolation, we get the great tribulation, where the wrath of God is poured out. And we're not subject to wrath. So that even cuts it down even more. So there's actually very little time. So let's take a look at this and just kind of refresh our memory here. I'm in Matthew 24:36. But of that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels in heaven, but my Father only. But as for the days of Noah, it will be like the coming of the Son of Man. So they were basically going about business as normal. It wasn't until everybody got on the boat did they start seeing rain. We're going to be rescued just in time. They didn't get on the boat the month before. They didn't get on the boat the 6 months before or a year before. They got on the boat just before. So we will be out of here just before. But we don't know the time. But we don't need to know the time. It isn't very long. That's all you need to know. And we'll get to that here in a bit. Just to take a quick look at, come down to 24:42. Watch therefore for you do not know the hour your Lord is coming, but know this, that if the master of the house had known the hour the thief would come, he would have watched and not allowed the house to be broken into. Therefore you are to be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect. Now, I think that's the second coming, something towards the end, and we shouldn't be here for that, but the bottom line is that it's still something that's not very far away. Let's turn to Revelation 22:20. We're all the way at the end. Okay, it starts off in 20. For he who testifies of these things says, surely, and this is in red letters, so this would be Jesus, surely I am coming quickly. And the word there is taku, which can mean, soon or quickly, or This was written 2,000 years ago, but he's coming quickly. So we're long past due. Paul was looking for him to come back. When they were asking him about what would be the signs of of the age, they were basically figuring that he was going to go away for a little bit and come back immediately and start ruling. That's why God didn't give him a time frame. But he told them what to look for, and we're seeing it all around us. All right, let's take a look at Hebrews, just to kind of give you an idea. Start in chapter 1. I'm just going to go ahead and start at the beginning. God, who at various times and in various ways spoke in time past to the fathers by the prophets, has in these last days spoken to us by his Son. They considered back then, somebody's door closed, but it's on the other side of the lake. When Jesus was here, they thought that was the last days. In essence, it is. He was finishing up the 69th day, and maybe he started the 70th back then, maybe he didn't, but In any case, they were in the last days. We're still in the last days, and we're still waiting. Okay, so we're going to be continuing to look. Let's look over to Luke 12:22. Then he says to his disciples, "Therefore I say to you," and this is Jesus speaking, "do not worry about your life, what you will eat, about your body, what you will put on. Life is more than food, and the body is more than clothing. Consider the ravens." You've heard this before. "Consider the ravens, for they neither sow nor reap, which have neither storehouse nor barn, and God feeds them. How much more valuable are you than the birds? Which one of you by worrying can add a cubit to your stature?" Okay, so basically, don't worry. For the most part, you don't see me doing anything but smiling when I'm doing these messages. I'm saying the world's going to end and everybody's going to die, and I'm still smiling because as a Christian, I'm not worried about me. Now, when I do worry about something, it's kind of the same way that Jesus felt when he rode into Jerusalem, when he was lamenting over the fact that they just would not accept him. He would have gathered them in like a mother hen, but they just reject him. That's what I worry about. But we have time, or we wouldn't be here. Okay. There's a commentary that I wanted to read. And I pulled out the marker. There it is. Okay. This commentary is coming from Hebrews. The basic theme of Hebrews is, of course, it's written to the Jews, but it's to stay grounded. Don't worry about things, to stay connected. And the commentary starts off, "Untie a boat from the dock and it will inevitably drift away. The waves and the currents take it away from the shore and it will never resist. It just floats off until it's caught or brought back or until it sinks." Well, if we're not grounded in God, we're going to drift away. And the distractions are going to be all over the place. Squirrel. I can say that because I do have squirrels out here. You may have them too, but don't be distracted by them. Lives also drift if they aren't tied to something solid. I'm having some issues. I got to get into town, and these glasses are like 2 prescriptions below what I should be when my other ones broke. I had to go back to my reserve, and I thought I had a modern new pair, but I don't. So I got to get into town here in a few days because I can't read. I'm having trouble. The writer of Hebrews knew this, that his readers were under pressure to reject Christianity and return to their Jewish roots. Some of them had already gone back to avoid the persecution that came with being a Christ follower. Christians have always been attacked, criticized. They've never been part of the world system. They've never been part. Now the Jews, that's the original people, and they've always been attacked as well. So we have a lot in common, and we are adopted into the family, so we do have a lot in common. But we don't have to go through the rituals that you do. We're adopted. We didn't have our DNA modified. All right. Whatever's going on in the world, don't worry about it. Wars and rumors of wars. You know, it was big, blusterous talk here recently. But we know where China stands. Russia's been doing the same thing. And the United States has been poking them. And like I said before, we're poking them because they're fighting. They don't want to be part of the harlot system. So they're going to have to be cut down to size. And whether it's going to be something that they do or something that somebody else does to them, I don't know. Whatever it is, I hope we don't have to fight here. And I don't really like seeing wars and rumors of wars because innocent people die in wars. Innocent people right now are dying in countries all around the world where they're killing Christians. We're having mass shootings here. It's chaos. This is all from the devil. And there's nothing you can do to stop it. Take away guns, people will be beat to death with stones. They used to do that too. Take away stones, they'll take them out and drown them. You can't stop people from taking somebody else's life if they're infected with the sin virus. Satan will get in there and they will think that it is the right thing to do. The devil made me do it. We used to joke about it, but it's true. The devil will get in and influence somebody, which is the other reason why you want to be as close to Jesus as possible. Even Christians can be misled, can be led away. Read the Bible every day. Pray every day. Be repentant every day. Start your day that way, end your day that way. And then don't sin during the day. Because every time you sin, you open the door for not Jesus, but for Satan. Now maybe you get away with it for a long time. Maybe, you're a small pea on the pod. You don't really amount to anything. But if you ever want to amount to something, you really have to stay close to God. Because Satan will put another notch in his gun if he can take you out. Look at how many big religious leaders have crashed and burned because they got led astray. Okay, so don't lose hope. Joy is the first in the list of things that we can enjoy here. We have faith. Now, if God wants us to suffer, He will give you the strength to suffer, and you won't really feel it that much. He had to endure the cross, so He knows what it's like. And the apostles crucified Peter upside down. Are we going to have to go through that? I don't think Christians are going to have to go through it now because we're going to have a rapture. But I think those that don't make the first rapture may have to be martyred. But even if that's the case, God will be with you right there the whole time and help you. Pain can be endured. Ask any mother. Labor pains and birth, they're a lot. Well, you can ask for drugs nowadays, but for years they didn't have them. Millions and millions of births didn't have them. He told Eve that was the way it was going to be. So that's the way it is. That's going to end too when we get our new bodies. Don't worry. Keep the faith and tell people about Jesus. And if you go to tell someone about it and they block you, just leave them with the comment that, you know how I feel. If you have any questions, come to me at any time. They might call you at 2 a.m. Don't get mad at them because you told them any time. But be ready. And then go on to the next person. If you have to talk to 100 people a day and only get one person listen to you, well, then that one person can be saved. Maybe they don't accept it right then. But if they let you talk, you've planted the seeds. And we know this. parables of the seed sowing. Some are in dry ground that will never grow up. Some in rocky soil. If you get it in the right soil, if the Spirit of God has actually worked with them, preparing their mind, and you come along with the right answers, led by the Spirit, of course, then they're going to listen. But it's not your job to lead them to Christ. It's your job to tell them the truth, tell them the word that we know all about. After they've been told, it's up to them. Because we can't force them, because God wouldn't force them. Talk as much as you can. I talk all the time. I talk too much sometimes. I have to make sure I focus when I'm talking. All right. Like I said in the beginning, if I say Jesus is coming today, I don't know whether I'm right or wrong, and neither do you. I've come out and I've done this before, so this is kind of a repeat, but when I say Jesus is coming, they come back and say, no, you're absolutely wrong. You're a blasphemer. He's not coming today. He's coming tomorrow. You know, what makes them think he's coming tomorrow? No one knows the day or the hour for his second coming or for any of the other events. It doesn't matter. We don't need to know. All we need to know is that he is coming and that he'll be with us every step of the way. Till we meet in the clouds. God bless.